Hello everybody, I'm Garrulous64, and welcome to a video that is not quite like my typical videos, because today we're not reviewing a game. I'm going to be sort of going back in time a little bit to review a character, which is a character that I've actually given a lot of flack in the past. And people definitely notice that, because in the comments they're always like, why are you bullying Tails the Fox? And I'm like, because he's a nerd! I'm just kidding, obviously, I am also a nerd, as you can see. But I am, like, very frustrated with the way that Sega has represented this character over the years. It's kind of maddening to watch a character that you like turn into a character that you can't stand anymore. And you know, I'm definitely not the only person who noticed that, because, you know, come a little game called Sonic Forces, everyone's sort of having a little bit of questions associated with, this man right here, this individual, like, what is he doing not fighting that water guy? Like, come on, he's made of water, you can just dry him out and he'll And that, of course, leads me to a Sonic Forces rewrite I did a while back, where a lot of people were commenting and saying, oh, well, Tails should have been the main character instead of Classic Sonic then, and I do agree with that, but the point of that video was to take all of the same players of Sonic Forces and rearrange them into a fashion that could show that, like, we were close to getting something good. They just didn't really take advantage of everything that they should have, and, of course, you know the end result. If it had been a more drastic rewrite, such as the Sonic 06 series I did a while back, where literally it's unrecognizable, then yeah, totally, Tails would have been in that playable slot, and I would have had a lot more to say about him overcoming his fears and all that stuff. But, you know, he's already kind of gone through that arc in the past. Before we talk about my issues with modern Tails as a whole, I wanted to just go over the history of the character, and we're gonna see how he fell from grace, much like how he falls after his timer for flight runs out. Back in 1992, Sonic 2 came out, and of course we know how that went. Everybody was like, wow, that game's great! And then I made a video about it, and people were like, wow, that video was okay! Sonic 2's main selling point, of course, is, well, I guess probably the fact that it's a new game, so you don't have to play the old one anymore. But also, Tails the Fox is added as Sonic's Player 2. Tails is the Luigi of this game, so he's basically the one you give to your little brother so they don't think they're being excluded, and your parents will just be like, yeah, that's cool, and then you can keep playing Sonic 2 and dying in Chemical Plant. Tails and Sonic are virtually identical. There's no real reason to play as Tails over Sonic, I don't believe, because he couldn't fly in the original Sonic 2. Other than being an optional player character, he doesn't really do anything cool in the story, aside from save Sonic's life at one point, but, you know, like, who really cares about that? He also makes you go through Sky Chase by flying you around, and you know what? I don't know if I can forgive him for that. Maybe that's why I hate him so much. That was another joke. That's very petty. He's fun. Tails the Fox, welcome to the team. And as long as things haven't changed since the last time I counted, Sonic 3 comes after Sonic 2, and in that game, Tails becomes a little bit more useful because he can fly around, therefore making him the easy mode of the game. And he also does a couple things here and there in the story, like in Marble Garden, he helps you fly around and attack the boss, but if you just get a ton of hits on the boss before he leaves the ground, it doesn't really matter too much. And then, of course, at the end of the game, he helps Sonic get the Master Emerald back to Angel Island, and Knuckles is like, yeah, dude, thank you. Very cool. Aside from that, playing as Tails is almost the exact same route Sonic takes, so, yeah, whatever, he's just there. And finally, we get to the really good stuff. It's Sonic Adventure. Like, one of the best things ever made. Not really, but I like it a lot. Of course, this comes with an actual narrative, because we can't really do, like, the 2D game, like, voiceless cutscene thing anymore. Like, we're in the 3D age, there's a lot going on, and honestly, 90% of the time, I wish they would just shut their mouths, because they're so annoying, but I also love hearing them talk. My brain is broken. We actually get a backstory for Tails in this game, which is not something that I think they would ever do these days for a character. But basically, he's just this super smart little dopey kid, and he gets picked on because he's got two tails. But of course, let's just forget about the fact that that definitely makes him genetically superior to everyone around him, because he has the power of flight because of it. Tails' entire story in this game is about learning that he has the strength to make it on his own. He can be a hero himself, he doesn't need to rely on Sonic. But who's the one who teaches him that lesson? It's Sonic. So keep that in mind, because that's important for the rest of the video. Now this is where it gets crazy, because SA2 Tails doesn't even feel like the same character anymore. Like, they just took everything from SA1 that he learned, and he's just like, yeah, now I'm a badass. Like, Sonic gets arrested, and Tails immediately flies to Prison Island, is like, I'm gonna bust this man out. Then it's like, oh, we gotta track down the president, any means necessary. Okay, Tails has got that. He's killed a lot of people on that highway. That's kind of scary. And of course, the biggest example of his growth is Sonic is literally killed in front of him. Or, you know, so they think. And Tails just goes, man, that sucks, but I gotta be a hero right now. And he fights Eggman, and he wins. and Sonic is not dead, so that's pretty good. Also, this conflicts with something that happens later that I'm going to talk about in a big way, because not even I could write my way around it using the canon, so Sega just didn't even try, I guess. Sonic Heroes then happens, of course, and nothing really changes with him at this point. Like, sure, he's with Team Sonic the entire time, he's pulling his weight, but he's kind of become a static character at this point, which means he just does not develop through the story. And that's not always a bad thing, but when writing is bad, then it's a very, very bad thing, and I'm sure you can see where I'm going with this. Of course, Tails is also in Shadow the Hedgehog, but I don't think he ever does anything of value aside from yelling at Shadow to go collect his groceries or something. And also, who even knows what parts of that game are canon? I have no idea. I know the final story is, but I don't know the path that leads up to that. So, this is pretty much just, you know, like, throw it into the garbage bin. Following one tragedy is, of course, another tragedy in the form of Sonic 06. As devastatingly broken as that game's narrative is, Tails still sticks to his guns. He kind of displays sort of the same characteristics as in the previous games, which is nice to see them still clinging to that, even though it's a sort of reboot for the series. A little bit? I don't know. Of course, you see Tails playable in a couple levels, and he's probably one of the worst characters to play as, but that doesn't affect his growth or anything, because he also steps up to the plate again when Sonic dies, and he helps get the Chaos Emeralds and brings his friend back to life. Again, that's another thing that contradicts something later. But I'm just gonna have to roll with it. I don't know what you want me to do. Like, I'm working with what I've been given. And that's pretty much where it ends for Tails, because after this point, he's really only playable one more time in the Sky Chase segment in Unleashed. Of course, debatably, you could say that you're playing as Sonic calling the shots, or maybe the plane itself. Anything to get Tails out of the limelight, I guess. But you know, all that time where Sonic and Chip were off doing stuff and saving the world, Tails just had plenty of time to play Angry Birds or something, so it's all good. Generations gives us two versions of Tails the Fox that do nothing throughout the entire game, because Tails is all like, only the Sonics can run through space and time and restore the world to what it should be, so then he literally kicks back in his chair, puts on his sunglasses, and he starts drinking a drink out of a coconut, and he's like, alright, so yeah, get to it. And I'm very disappointed in Classic Tails, because he's there, and in the classic games he does some stuff, but in this one, like, he helps Sonic with a mission once, and then's just like, alright, peace, I'm gonna go gamble. I don't know what that means. He's going to Casino Night Zone. Lost World Tails is only really around to make Sonic look like an idiot and to force an eventual conflict with Eggman that had no business actually happening, because as far as I'm aware, I feel like Tails wouldn't start an argument like that out of nowhere, like he's just being really petty and stupid. Of course, he does have some moments where he actually does things, such as when he reprograms the Zeddy's machine so he doesn't get turned into a mindless robot. He just stays a mindless sheep. But at the end of the day, Lost World kind of feels like a sitcom that does one-off episodes, because after this game ends, I just get the feeling that none of it actually mattered in the first place. And finally, we get to the game that has incited this entire video to be made, and Tails has just lost it. As if he hadn't already lost it 9 years prior. After losing Sonic, not like that's ever happened before, he gives up immediately. Can't fix Omega, he can't beat Chaos Zero, he can't do anything on his own without a Sonic around. And he's basically just a quivering mass of fur and wasted IQ points. This of course leads to Tails being classic Sonic's BFF for a while before he disappears and Tails gets all sad. But it's like, dude, you didn't need any of that. And they didn't really try very hard with this script, I can tell. Like, this was supposed to be a serious story, but they made it as comedic as possible. I'm not saying like it needs to be uber serious or anything like that, but like, it's this weird, inconsistent, back and forth, really serious, and also Saturday morning cartoon show vibe. Like, it doesn't really mix well, and I think everything suffers because of it. And the most upsetting thing is that there are ways they could have written this that didn't make it turn out this way by using, this is gonna sound weird, but real-world logic and also some lore stuff from the series. But of course, they don't care about the lore of the series. Like, for instance, Chaos is not in this game because they care about the lore of the series, obviously, because it doesn't make any sense. He's there because it would make you more likely to buy the game. Tails the Fox is a broken character, that is the name of the video, and it is true, and I mean, you can see it for yourself. I've always personally had an explanation as to why Tails is so messed up at Forces, but the thing is, it's not canon because it's not actually in the game, and it's also rooted a bit in real-world logic, which, like I said, is a little bit weird, but just hear me out here. I told you to remember Tails' arc from Sonic Adventure 1 into Sonic Adventure 2. He becomes his own person, and thanks to Sonic, he believes in himself, and he realizes that he does not always need to rely on other people. It's some real shonen jump shit. But it worked. Okay, so this next bit might get a little bit real, but bear with me. We all have people that we look up to, yeah? Some people that taught us things, sort of like this Sonic and Tails relationship, how, you know, Sonic taught him a lot of things, blah, 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 blah. Sometimes those people are so important to us, and those lessons that we learned from them, that we're not quite sure where we would be if they weren't around anymore. Looking back at Forces, Tails is in the town, terrified for his life, trying to protect people, and then he sees Sonic get beaten up by yesteryear's top 5 villains. And Zavik. And then that's it. There's no more Sonic. He's gone. For all they know, he's dead. And they do think he's dead, which is sort of a comical moment in the game because we're positive that he is not dead. That would just be really stupid. So what they could have done with that, as opposed to what they did where they just say he lost it, and, you know, translation error or not, you work with it, make him actually show that. Sonic is gone. Sonic taught him all of these things. Sonic didn't win. Sonic lost. If the person who inspired you and did all of those things for you so you could help yourself and, like, become your own person and just really start kicking it gets beat, it's like, okay, wait a minute. I've got doubts now? Where all of these lessons, like, they came from someone who was sure of himself, but he got beat, and I wasn't as good as him before. Like, I had to learn to be as good as him. Am I even any good? Can I do this? Can I do anything? That would have been really realistic. And also, just, like, would have been a really good message, too. Because, see, instead of that being a story of Tails being like, oh man, I'm bummed out, and then going, oh, I'm okay, it could be so much more, and I can't wait to share with you what I have in concept for that. But of course, they don't care enough about the writing to do something like that, just like how, you know, Sonic's 6 months in prison hardly did anything to him. Because, you know, like, what's 6 months? So what I propose here is sort of another Sonic Forces rewrite, I guess, except a little bit more drastic this time. So basically, it's the regular Forces setup, except Sonic gets the distress call from Tails, runs off to the city, finds Tails in the city, actually fighting someone, trying to actually do some things instead of being backed into a corner, because we know he could do more than that. Maybe throw in the mech from SA2 just as like a little Easter egg, and maybe have it get destroyed, and then he's forced to the sidelines for a bit while Sonic confronts, like, the big bad villains. Eventually, Sonic's worn down, he gets taken out, and Tails is just like, uh-oh. And as Eggman is taking him away, someone in the crowd just shouts out, like, what about him? You know, pointing to Tails, and Eggman's like, no, leave him there, he's useless. So that'll stay fresh in his head as he watches them carry his best friend off to probably kill. Skipping ahead to obviously the Chaos Zero cutscene. At this point, no one's seen Sonic or Tails in a really long time, and nobody knows if they got both of them or not. But Tails is out in the city, he's trying to fix Omega, and he can't do it, and he's getting increasingly more and more frustrated when Chaos Zero shows up, and Tails, acting brashly and just being angry and frustrated and upset, attacks Chaos Zero, tries his best, but he is not in his right state of mind, so he is getting whooped. Enter the Avatar. Not classic Sonic, we don't need him for this. The Avatar, of course, doesn't have too much going on, being a silent character, but if you listen to the lyrics in the stages that they play, and also you see the backstory with Infinite where they get spared and, you know, they run away all scared and cowardly and all that, to me, the Avatar seems a lot more like an early Tails as opposed to a Sonic. They have a moment where they reconvene, maybe Tails comes back and realizes that he's been kind of foolish to be off on his own for a bit, and then he starts to almost act like a mentor figure towards the Avatar, sort of like Sonic did for him for a long time. Of course, it's not going to be something that he can just do immediately, he's not just going to snap out of his funk, but he knows that there's more at stake here, and he knows that this person needs help along with all of his other friends. So he's going to do his best, and that's the best we can ask of him. Story changes again in a major way when they finally rescue Sonic. Like, oh my god, he's alive, thank goodness! But he seems a little bit different, and that's because he has lost sight of his infallible confidence, because he's been stuck in a prison cell for 6 months, and he's been tortured by Zavik. Which, like, if Zavik looked at me the wrong way, I feel like I would feel 10 times worse about myself, because that dude is a loser. It just really hurts the ego and the pride, you know? So Sonic is like, he's just lost it. So seeing Sonic like this, Tails is now fully aware that he needs to step up to the plate here. And instead of this being a static character story where Sonic is just like, oh yeah, homing attack! Like, instead, he's like, oh man, existential crisis! Whoa! And this is the most fun idea I have for this game. Maybe in addition to some of the other stuff from the old rewrite. But basically, Tails is here to teach Sonic and the Avatar the lessons that he learned back in Adventure from Sonic. This is just like a full circle thing, and I would say this would almost be like an entire redemption arc for Tails as a character after so long just being underutilized and made fun of by me and various other people for just doing nothing. Of course, this also has the side effect of making Sonic a little bit more interesting too, because, you know, I think it's a very important lesson for people to learn that you can't always be that hero dude that never has any problems or issues and can overcome anything. Because sometimes it's a little bit harder than that, and it can affect you in different ways. You know, you get upset and angry and frustrated. It'd just be good for, I think, especially kids to see that. Like, a hero like that can get knocked down, but you get back up. Like I mentioned before, though, if they were to go this route, despite it being really good for these characters, in my opinion, it would kind of conflict with some old lore. Since we're directly pulling from some old stuff, that would mean things like, you know, Sonic's death in SA2, where Tails are just like, alright, square up. Or Sonic 06, when Sonic literally gets, like, stabbed through the heart, and Tails is just like, again, I'm gonna go find these rocks. That doesn't make sense anymore. So, like, I think right now, this entire series has been written to a bit of a corner, and even trying to justify some things doesn't work out anymore, which is... that's how you know things are broken. This is just part of the reason I can't stand this character anymore, because in each isolated instance, he doesn't really do anything, and it's just pathetic to watch. And then in the overall picture, when you look at everything, you can see how inconsistent it is. And it's like maddening, right? Like, I mean, so many people love this character. I'm sure you would love to see him actually do some good things for once. Like, I mean, right now, he's just a Jimmy Neutron wannabe who sits on the sidelines and says big words while pointing at a screen. I don't hate Tails because of all the joke reasons I've given over the last couple years. I hate what he's become because we know that this could be better. And you know, Tails isn't even the only character they ruin. They've killed Shadow, they've killed Silver, they've killed Knuckles. Like, so many characters just aren't what they used to be. And the sad thing is, I don't think that's ever going to change unless Sonic Team really starts to prioritize writing more, and I just don't see that happening right now. That's another reason I actually love the comics, because in the comics, they actually end up using so much of these characters' backstories and everything, and they feel like real characters again. These are the versions of the characters I actually really enjoy, and I think they could really learn a lot from this. Not to mention, I feel like they actually respect the source material a little bit more, and, you know, that's always a good thing. I might do more videos like this in the future about other characters, because I do definitely want to talk about, like, Silver and Shadow, let's say. But for now, that's pretty much all I had to say about Tails the Fox. I really wish things would change for him, because I know a lot of you guys like him. And if you guys have any other ideas about how Tails could possibly be redeemed in the future, please go ahead and let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear what you have to say. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much for making it to the end of the video. If you made it this far, please go ahead and let me know you did in the comments below. I always like seeing who watches the whole way through. But yeah, I would also like to say, if you enjoyed this video and you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe, click the bell, follow my Twitter, and join the Discord to keep up with more Sonic-related things and other things that are Sonic-related things, because I do a lot of things. I gotta figure that saying out a little bit better, I think. But anyway, I'd also like to give a huge thank you to my current supporters, who are Roblox Gamer, Kaido the Samurai, Danny Lee Dauber, Mike TGC, Chaotic Mercenary, Crystal, Ty Little Tech Guy, Raiden Still Plays, PM13, Crazy Sean DX, Chaos, Jeremy, Dork in a Hat, and Mega Traffic Cone. And as usual, a huge thank you to my $1 patrons and supporters. I really appreciate everything. Even $1 helps, as I said earlier in the video, and you get access to shoutouts at the end of these videos. You get all of those blooper episodes. There are over 20 things to check out now, I think. And also, you get emotes and little badges down in the comments section. And also you're helping me, which I actually really need the help. So I would appreciate literally anything. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.